Welcome, deep divers, to another, well, frankly, fascinating journey into a story that really had the entire Formula One world scratching his head. Today, we're diving straight into the thick of it, the high-speed, high-stakes world of F1. You know, it's a sport built on cutting-edge tech, unbelievable speeds, amazing drivers. But, as we're about to see, sometimes the tiniest little thing can cause the absolute biggest problems. And our specific deep dive today, it's all about Fernando Alonso's really mysterious retirement at the 2025 Italian Grand Prix. This whole story, it's quite a ride. Started with a lot of confusion, then boom, internet theories everywhere. And finally, the official explanation from Aston Martin was just, well, it's pretty surreal. So our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to really dig into Aston Martin's investigation. We'll uncover the tiny, almost unbelievable culprit behind it all. And then we'll explore what this really means for the team and, for Alonso's incredible, but often incredibly unlucky career.
Absolutely. And for you listening, this is a really great example of how one sort of seemingly straightforward race incident can actually peel back all these complex layers. You've got engineering challenges, maybe some strategic oversights, and definitely that unique human element in elite sport. We're going way beyond the headlines here to get the real story and why it actually matters.
Okay, all right, let's paint the picture. Monza, 2025, the Temple of Speed. Fernando Alonso, leading up to the race, he was absolutely on fire. Qualifying was just masterful. He used the slipstream, the rebuffos, perfectly to grab P8 on the grid. Really impressive stuff. And then Sunday, spectacular start. Right away, he's in the mix, fighting hard for good points right around that P8 spot.
Yeah.
But then lap 24, it all went wrong. The front right suspension on his Aston Martin, the AMR25, it just inexplicably collapsed. Race over.
Yeah.
So sudden, really dramatic. And everyone was just thinking, what on earth just happened?
Yeah, and that's exactly when the speculation just exploded. Almost instantly, social media was flooded. A lot of people were super quick to point the finger at Alonso himself. The common theory was, he went too wide at the Ascari chicane, pushed too hard, damaged the car. Simple as that. But hang on, let's think about that critically for a second. If loads of drivers were supposedly going wide there, why did only Alonso's suspension just completely give way like that? Seems a bit too easy, doesn't it?
That's exactly it. And the official investigation pretty quickly started knocking down those popular theories. So, theory one, he went too wide at Ascari. Well, the counter-arguments were really strong. First off, tons of other drivers did similar things, no problem at all. And maybe more importantly, Pedro Martinez de la Rosa, former F1 driver, sharp eye. He said straight away, Alonso didn't take the curb more than normal. He saw it live. So that kind of puts that initial blame to bed. Okay, then there was theory two. Maybe he damaged it earlier, going long at the first chicane, the Retifalo, battling Bortoleto. Some thought maybe he whacked the banana curb there.
Ah, yes, the infamous banana curbs.
Exactly. But look, there's photo evidence that clearly shows he didn't actually go fully over that curb. And those things are pretty aggressive, designed to really deter you. So hitting it partially like that, highly, highly unlikely to cause that kind of total suspension failure later on. So with those main theories pretty much debunked, the mystery just got deeper, didn't it? Driver error seemed mostly off the table. So what was the real reason? Aston Martin's own investigation found something? Well, they called it surreal and completely unexpected. This is where it gets really interesting.
Right. What Aston Martin finally concluded was honestly almost anticlimactic in its simplicity. The root cause, a stone, just a simple piece of gravel. And here's the kicker. The damage didn't happen on lap 24 when it failed. Oh no, it started way, way earlier, on the very first lap of the race, during all that opening lap chaos.
Lap one. Wow. Okay, so what happened? Well, the specific chain of events, apparently, started when Lando Norris got squeezed by Max Verstappen. Battling for position, Norris got forced onto the grass. And well, you can imagine what happens next at those speeds.
Yep, kicks up a whole load of dirt, gravel, debris right onto the racing line.
Exactly. And one of those little pieces of gravel, one of those stones, hit Alonso's car.
According to the team, it hit several areas. But the critical impact, the one that mattered, was on the front right suspension. It compromised it right then and there on lap one, which, really makes you think, how can something so small cause such a catastrophic failure on a modern F1 car? These machines are incredible feats of engineering, but they operate right on the absolute edge, even at tiny weakness.
It could just get worse and worse under racing conditions. And that's what happened. That initial, probably tiny compromise from lap one just slowly degraded over the next 23 laps. High speeds, constant loads, vibrations. Monza is brutal on cars. Until finally, lap 24, exiting Ascari, one of the fastest parts of the track, it just gave up. It defalescer, as the Spanish report said. It failed. Reached its breaking point.
And Aston Martin's official statement, their communique, was pretty direct about it. They said, and I'm quoting here, Something of gravel struck Fernando's car on the first lap of the race in several areas, including the suspension, which was compromised. So, yeah, confirmation it was this unseen damage working away lap after lap.
And the visual proof is just wild. It came from Aston Martin's own photos, their press image bank. Someone, David Moreno, deserves huge credit here. He really dug into them, brightened one specific photo, zoomed right in, and there it was. Clear as day. A small hole right in the front right suspension arm. Proof positive of that stone impact. But wait, it gets even crazier. This is the bit that really blew my mind. So, okay, front right damage confirmed, stone impact, makes sense. But further digging into those photos, really close examination.
Don't tell me.
Yes. It revealed another small hole, this time in the front left suspension.
No way, both sides.
Both sides. It means multiple stones must have hit the car. So Fernando Alonso was unknowingly driving, nearly half the race distance with two compromised front suspensions. It's absolutely unbelievable. And then here's maybe the most shocking part, coming from Aston Martin's own report. We're in 2025, right? F1 cars have sensors for absolutely everything. Telemetry out the wazoo.
Yeah, they monitor everything. Tire temps, brake wear, engine modes.
Everything. Yet, the team admitted they didn't see anything. Nothing on the data showed this developing failure.
They were completely blind to it during the race.
How is that even possible?
Oh, that's the critical point, isn't it? Their own statement said they were not aware of the damage and that the small level of constant load ended up triggering the breakdown. It's just a real disconnect, perhaps, between having tons of data and actually being able to detect this specific kind of damage. A structural compromise from an external impact in real time, it's a technological blind spot, it seems. Maybe the sensors are looking for specific load spikes or temperature changes, not necessarily a tiny pre-existing hole slowly getting worse.
And beyond the tech, think about the safety. I mean, seriously, Alonso's doing over 300 kilometers at Monza, the fastest track all year, with both front suspension units fundamentally weakened. That is terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. A huge safety risk. If that had let go somewhere else, it doesn't bear thinking about.
And this has bigger implications for Aston Martin too, doesn't it? Especially looking ahead.
It certainly does, particularly because the front suspension, the part that failed so dramatically, that's Aston Martin's own design. They make that in-house. It's not like the rear suspension or the gearbox, which they currently buy from Mercedes.
Ah, okay, so it's their component.
Exactly. And for their own design to fail like this and for the damage to go undetected, well, it's not a good sign, as the analysis put it, especially, as you said, looking ahead. They're becoming a full factory team next year. Honda engines. That means they'll be designing everything themselves, front and rear suspension included.
Right. So reliability of their own parts becomes even more crucial.
Precisely. And while everyone's excited about Adrian Newey joining, and rightly so, he's a genius, a team is way more than just one person. The engineering depth, the processes, the quality control, the simulation, the real-time monitoring, all of that needs to be absolutely top-notch. This incident, caused by a tiny stone, it kind of shines a spotlight on those areas. It's a bit of a litmus test for their readiness.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit to Alonso himself. Because this Monza incident, it just feels like yet another chapter in his book of extraordinary bad luck, doesn't it? Especially in 2025, which has been, surreal for him. Just a catalog of problems. You had the brakes in China, the steering wheel in Bahrain, a breakdown in Monaco.
Don't forget the strategy calls. Miami, Silverstone.
Exactly. Strategy errors, terrible luck with safety cars.
Yeah.
It's just been relentless, one thing after another.
And when you zoom out and look at his whole career, this pattern of just unbelievable misfortune is staggering. I mean, think back. Hungary 2006, leading majestically. Wheel nut comes off in the pits, gutting. Singapore 2017. Dragged an uncompetitive McLaren up to P3 somehow, then taken out at the first corner.
Oh, I remember that one. Painful.
And the big one, Abu Dhabi 2010, that third world title looks sewn up, then the strategy call.
Yeah.
Stuck behind Petrov. Agonizing. Even more recently. Bahrain 2021, his comeback race. Taken out by a stray sandwich wrapper in a brake duct.
You couldn't make it up.
And Australia 2022. Flying and qualifying, looking set for maybe the front row, and a tiny little two-parts brakes, causing a huge crash. It honestly makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is Fernando Alonso statistically genuinely the unluckiest driver in F1 history?
It really feels that way sometimes, like he walks under ladders constantly.
Yeah.
And what makes this Monza situation almost legendary in a bittersweet way
Yeah.
is that despite carrying this hidden, ticking time bomb of damage in both front suspensions, Alonso was having, by all accounts, a great race, a real carrerone, as they say, a stormer. He was scrapping hard for 8th place, battling cars like the Sauber and the Williams of Albon.
Which were rockets in a straight line at Monza.
Exactly, cars that should have just sailed past him, theoretically. But he was keeping them honest, fighting tooth and nail.
And knowing now that he was doing all that, fighting for points, pushing hard, with 2 compromised suspensions damaged that nobody, not even his own team, knew about, it just adds another layer of astonishment. It speaks volumes about his skill, his feel for the car, his sheer grit. To manage that situation unknowingly and still perform at that level, it's extraordinary.
It really is. And that, I suppose, is the legendary Alonso effect we hear about. He just has this knack, this almost supernatural ability, doesn't he, to take cars that are maybe uncompetitive or even, like here, fundamentally damaged and make them perform way, way beyond what logic or even the data would suggest is possible.
Yeah, remember Baku 2018? Drove back to the pits on 2 wheels, basically, finished 7th with massive damage.
Well, that pole position in Canada with Alpine.
What?
Out of nowhere, the computers couldn't predict it.
Exactly. It defies normal explanation sometimes.
So yeah, as the source material perfectly summed it up, don't try to understand it, because sometimes even computers don't. All right. Okay, so let's quickly recap what we've uncovered in this deep dive. The shocking truth of Alonso's Monza retirement wasn't driver error, despite the initial noise. It was a random stone, hitting the car on lap 1, causing unseen progressive damage to both front suspensions. And this whole thing has really highlighted some critical issues for Aston Martin detection capabilities, reliability of their own parts, especially as they gear up to be a full works team.
And the broader lesson here, for everyone listening, I think, is pretty powerful. It doesn't matter if it's F1 or any field pushing the limits of performance and technology. Sometimes the tiniest, most random things can have absolutely massive, unexpected consequences. It's a great reminder to always think critically, look past the easy answers or the social media hot takes, and really dig for the nuanced truth.
Well said. So here's a final thought to leave you with, something to chew on. We know Alonso has this almost unbelievable skill to get the maximum, sometimes more, out of any car, even a broken one. And we know he has this incredible history of just pure rotten bad luck. So what does this Monza incident really tell us about that fine, maybe invisible, line between incredible human talent, cutting-edge technology, and just sheer unpredictable chance in elite sport? Where does skill end and luck begin? What stands out most to you from this whole story? Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We really hope it gave you some fascinating new perspectives to think about. Until next time.